So today we're going to be installing a white vinyl gate. So the first step is looking at your opening. You want to make sure that the opening is correct. So what we want for a white vinyl gate is from finished edge to finished edge, like the actual opening distance should be 4 feet. Another good thing you want to check is how level the posts are. They should be level. And then you also want to check which post is lower, which side is the lower end. So ideally on a pretty level slope like we are on, we'd want them pretty level. When they're being set, as level as you can. Now when you're on a steep slope, you're going to have a lower side. The lower side, if there is a lower side, which there normally is, that will be your hinge side, the lower side. For our case, this is the lower side. That will be the hinge side. This side will be the latch side. So that's step one, identifying which side will be your latch side and which side will be your hinge side. Also, in step one, you should identify the inside and the outside. Well, we're on the outside of the fence, and this is the inside of the fence. So we know that this will be the hinge side and this is the outside. So it's going to sit just like this. This is the gate now. So we're going to have the hinges on the right side, the hinge side, and we're going to have them facing us, towards us, because it's the outside. The hinges always go on the outside for white vinyl or any kind of vinyl. Then for the gate, we have to identify what is the top of the gate and what's the bottom of the gate. To do that, we look at the gate's actual posts, like the gate posts that assembled are part of the gate. So this spacing is, I believe it's around 2 inches, but it's a good amount. And on the bottom, it's only like 1 inch, so it's less. So the less amount is on the bottom, and the more amount is on the top. So that means we have it flipped the correct way. That's the top, that's the bottom, because that is less than that. Mount the hinges. So what you do is you center them inside this, or center to the rail on the gate, and this is the post side and this side is the gate side. The smaller one is the gate side, and then the bigger one is the post side. And then first you'll have to pre-drill them with a drill bit. So to do that, you just hold it up, line it up, eye it up to make sure it's right, and then just pre-drill it like that. Then get your impact, and I like to put that magnetic extension, that little magnetic one. It just makes it a little better. Ideally, you put a shorter Phillips on there so it has more magnetic power. And then you just put your screws in. Now they do like to strip a little bit just because maybe my drill bit isn't quite big enough. So just make sure you're not stripping them out. So you put those in each hole, and then you also go back here and put those 2 in. After you have them all on, I'll show you what's next. So now we're on the next step. You might have to get an extra helper here. You might not. So you go on that side, Dad. Yep. And then what I like to do is just put a foot under it. It makes it easy. So what we're trying to do is we're on the hinge side now.
Which hinge side is the lower side,
I already
correct?
said all
Okay.
that, yep. So if you could grab that drill bit, Dad. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is I'm getting it tight down there, and I'm getting it tight up here, and then I'm lifting it flush up here. Makes sense?
Yep.
So now when it's like how I want it, you can hold that, Dad. Yep. So there's 3 screws right there. You always have that on your right hip or left hip if you're left-handed. Okay. And you bring it in there. Just like that. So you want that flush on the top so it looks nice. Now, these could strip out, so you don't want to go crazy with it. Just enough to make them tight. That's it. And now it should hold itself. So you can stop. So now your helper is basically useless, but you always give him a hug. Thank you. And you can get back to work doing another thing. So, yeah. Okay. Then.
You're holding it tight right now.
Yep. Making sure there's no gap here. Like, I'll show you. Like that.
Uh-huh.
You want to make sure it's nice and tight. Okay. Grab your screws.
Don't lose these screws.
No, you only have so many. Okay, and then you open it up and you do the screws that are in the inside. Now this isn't adjusted yet. That bottom post we were gonna raise up so it doesn't drag like that. But now this is important. So you see how this is pulling out here. So what you're gonna want to do is grab something like this, for example. Put it under there so it's putting pressure. Now this is tight right there. So, did you see that difference?
I saw a difference. A
Okay.
little bit.
Yep. So then ring, pre-drill. And this isn't going to change, so might do this one too. Try to center them in the hole when you're pre-drilling, because if you don't, it could shift it a little bit. So a good thing to do is find your one that's the best. Don't spend too much time on it, but this one looks, that one's probably the best, the top one up there. So we'll put that in, because after that's in, they shouldn't really move that much. So now we got the gate mounted, all the screws are in over here as well. Everything's nice and tight, looks good. So next step, basically setting the gate to like adjustment wise. So what we had here is the customer wanted the fence as tight to the ground as possible. So that's what we did. Everything was very tight. We talked to him and told him with the gate, it's just gonna mess things up. So I have it lifted right now with that thin, low profile pack out there. And so that's about 2 inches on that side. And what that gave us was just enough room now to be the right height on this side, being tight. But we only have like a 1/2 inch or less of clearance in the bottom. So I'm not totally loving that. I'd like at least an inch on that side. Over here we have about, probably about that 2 inches. So on this side, if we had 1 inch, that would be like perfect. So to accomplish that, I'm gonna raise this. Well, no, I could do that and raise this another inch or ½ inch. That's probably what I should do. Another thing I could do is, you see this gap here is narrower than this gap down here. We're talking not very much, maybe ½ inch at most, probably more like 1/4 inch difference all the way up. So what we can do is adjust this over here. So if it's wider at the bottom, we can push this side out and keep this side tighter. So I'll do that and we'll see how it turns out. To accomplish this, what you do is, if you want this to go out farther, you loosen this one up, is about as much as you want, and you get your hand down here and you pull it, and while you're holding it, you there, you move that. That's what I was doing. Move that tight. Then take your Knipex or some kind of wrench, pliers you have, tighten that. Trying to be careful to not mar up the black paint too much. So now we have that ½ inch gap down here with almost minimal gap up there. And now, what do we have here? We have a pretty consistent gap all the way up, and we have raised it about just under ½ inch, about 3/8 I'd say. So now we'll raise this fence 3/8 by getting under there, lifting. It hasn't been screwed on the bottom yet, so we'll lift it up, screw it from removing some dirt, and then this gate should be good. They did want it pretty close to the ground, so we are accomplishing that. Let's just see here. We have about 1 inch of clearance at most down there. So, yeah. Okay, so now it's time to put the latch on the vinyl fence. This is white, but it would work for any color, obviously. This would work. This is the same way we do wood ones as well. So we're on the outside of the fence. In there is the inside of the fence. And the reason we do the outside is because this is the way the gate swings. So then I go 36 inches from the ground up. That's my 36-inch mark, which is 3 feet. Then you grab your screw, impact, just like that. Now that's a 10 millimeter. And then this goes, that line, that 36-inch or 3 feet, goes right in the center. Okay, so you gotta center it, and then I'll be back when I got it. Okay, so now I got this on. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws for the latch part, and then you need the, I don't know if you want to call it the pin or strike plate. I'm just opening it up here. For the gate side, that's this guy right here. And there's also 6 screws on this one. And how I do this, it is helpful if one person stands on the other side to kind of give you pressure against the gate, because that goes right in there. So what you do is you got to make sure you line it up so that you know, the gap here and on the bottom is good. I always side for having this as high as you can, maybe a little gap on the bottom, on the top, and a bigger gap on the bottom. And the reason for that is if the gate ever sags, it will still latch just fine. So I'll put those screws in, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6. Now for the handles, this is a handle. That's what our handles look like. It will be, they come with 2 screws or legs, whatever you want to call them. There'll be 2 of them, and they're that same 10 mil. Now, for placement, I like to put it always in the middle of the post. And what I like to do is, you see the top of this, I like to line the bottom of this with that. So it's straight across right there. And then I center it, and then on the other side, I do the same thing. I'll show you. So now we are on the inside, and so I go by that same point, which is right up there by the screws, that top point of the latch, and I line it up, I eye it up again with this bottom part. Down in here, I go straight across. So I would say, yeah, about right there.